So Hohem has launched the iSteady V3, an excellent all-in-one smartphone gimbal designed to help you capture incredibly smooth professional quality videos, just like the one you saw at the beginning of this video. But how do you actually use this amazing tool to achieve these cinematic shots? Many beginners believe that simply having a gimbal will magically make their videos look cinematic, but that is not necessarily true. In today's video, I'll teach you how to master 10 cinematic gimbal moves using the Hohem iSteady V3 to elevate your video content. Additionally, at the end of this video, I will compile the shots into a final edit, including the behind-the-scenes footage, so that you can see how the shots were achieved. Now, also a massive shout out to Hohem for sponsoring and supporting this channel. This video wouldn't be possible without them. Now, as for today, I will be filming at a ruin. Ta-da! A great location with many different areas to explore and perfect for capturing cinematic shots. The goal here is to really make a location like this come to life. So let's have some fun and get some cinematic shots. So first I want to talk about the camera settings. So I'll be using the default camera app on my iPhone 15 Pro Max. Now I could use the Hohem Joy app, which is the dedicated app that comes with this gimbal to extend its functionality. The reason why I prefer to stick with the default camera app is because I don't need the additional features, and many of the controls that I need are at my fingertips, and I can also make use of the AI tracker, which allows me to use it with any third-party video application. So we're now inside the default camera app, and the resolution and frame rate I like to shoot in is 4K 60 frames per second. 4K gives me the highest quality and allows me to reframe the shot in case I didn't get the composition right. And 60 frames per second allows me to slow down the clip to not only create speed ramps, but also to make the shot look smoother in general. What I also like to do is lower the overall exposure by tapping on the arrow. I can select the exposure compensation tool and I set it to -3, or I could even set it to -0.7 since it's very bright outside today. Now, since the iPhone 15 Pro Max has 3 lenses, I tried to make use of all the 3 focal lengths to get different perspectives and achieve a more dynamic shot in my video. Now, I won't be shooting in ProRes log since 4K 60 isn't supported in it and I don't have an external SD and want to keep it overall simple. Now, one rule to keep in mind is to lock your focus and exposure before you start recording. So what I like to do is tap hold on the screen until AEAF lock appears. This means that the auto exposure and auto focus is locked. So when I tilt up and down, you'll see that the exposure as well as the focus doesn't change. But when I unlock it by tapping on it, as soon as I tilt up, you'll notice that the exposure does change, and we don't want that in our shot. Now, sometimes you can get away with using the auto exposure and auto focus, but in high contrasty situations, if you don't lock the exposure and focus, you'll notice the drastic change, which doesn't look nice. What I also like to enable is the rule of third, which allows me to frame myself or the shot more easily. And you can enable that in the settings by heading over to camera and then enabling grid. I would also recommend you enable level. Now, more importantly, when you head over to record video and scroll down, you want to enable lock white balance because this will prevent the video from having color shifts. I'm also going to enable enhanced stabilization as this will improve the image stabilization overall. Also, I turn off HDR video, especially if you're a beginner and don't know how to convert HDR to SDR, then I recommend turning HDR off and shooting in SDR as it's much easier to work with. And I also find that the footage just looks more natural. So let's kick things off with some basic gimbal moves and then gradually move to more advanced gimbal techniques. And the first shot we will be creating is a reveal shot. And this is where locking the focus and exposure becomes really important. So we have this beautiful river that guides the viewer's eye towards this house to the very end. So that is where the focal point will be. So this is going to be the focal point. I'm going to set and lock the focus and exposure on the house, hold the trigger button, move down, press the record button, and slowly tilt up the camera. just like that. Now, before I head up to the ruin, I want to capture a shot from further away. And this looks like a nice angle, and I'm going to create a slide shot and use foreground to add depth. Now, most of the time I set the gimbal mode to pan, tilt, follow. This gives me the most freedom as it will follow my handle movement in all direction while keeping the horizon locked. So it is quite far away, so I'm going to use the 5x. This looks better. I'm also going to lock the focus and exposure on the flag, and then I'm going to create the slide shot and press the record button. I'm going to slide from right to left while keeping the flag centered in the frame, and slide to the right and slide to the left again, slide to the right. And there we have it. Alright, so the next one will be a fun one. I'm going to use the AI tracker to track myself walking up this path. And I've noticed this dead branch here, which I will use to place the gimbal on it. And what's cool is that the Hohem iSteady V3 comes with built-in tripod legs. For this shot, I will be using the ultra wide angle lens to fit in more in the frame. And I'm going to place it right over here. Now, since it's going to pan from right to left, I'm actually going to leave the focus and exposure in auto. I think the changes won't be as noticeable. And what's really cool with this AI tracker up here is that I can use this sign, and you'll see that it will start tracking me and keep me fixed in the center. And if I hold up this sign, it will even start the recording on the default camera app without me having to touch the screen. And features like this just make my life way more easier, especially when I'm by myself filming myself. So now we have a shot of me walking up the path. Now I want to capture a shot sort of from my point of view. And this will be more of an advanced shot where we have a shot of me walking. And as I move forward, slowly tilt up the camera to reveal parts of the ruin. So I'm first going to lock the focus and exposure on this ruin. And then I'm going to tilt down the camera so that we first show my feet. I'm going to start walking and then slowly tilt up the camera as I push forward, just like that. So now we're going to create a selfie parallax shot. And for that, I'm going to use the AI tracker to help me keep me centered in the frame as I create that camera movement. I will be switching over to the selfie camera, and I will be extending the pole all the way and then angle the camera towards me. And then I'm going to activate the AI tracker by holding up this sign. And if I hold it this way, the flag will also be in the frame. So I'm going to create a sort of low shot and then turn the gimbal as I look around. Also important, as I turn the camera to the right, I move with my head to the left. And this creates this parallax effect. So I will be setting and locking the focus on me, okay? And then I will start the recording. So let's now create an FPV shot. And for this, I've set the gimbal to FPV mode. This unlocks all motors. And I'm gonna get a little bit creative where I sort of push forward and then slowly tilt up the camera and turn it to reveal the ruin. Now, to better understand this, let me show you what I mean. So this will be my ending shot. I'm going to set and lock focus on it. Then I'm going to angle the camera around 170 degrees, starting with a reveal shot. I'm going to reveal the location like that, and then sort of tilt the camera so that we can see parts of the ruin. So in my next shot, I'm going to create a jib shot where at the same time the camera rotates. What's cool about the Hohem iSteady V3 is that I can press the M button 3 times and the camera starts rotating automatically. This way I can focus on, lifting the camera up and pushing forward while it does the rotation for me. So for this shot, I will be using the extension pole. I will be also using the ultra wide angle lens, and I will also flip the camera upside down so that I can bring the camera as close as possible to the ground so that we have foreground and can create more depth in our shot. And I'm going to press the record button and then push the M button 3 times. All right, and this way it will start rotating. And I can now slowly push forward. There we have it. So for this shot, I'm going to create an orbit shot, and I want to capture some details as well because we have a lot of wide-angled shots. I will film this plant and get close to it. This will create more depth and blur out the background as well. I think this looks like an interesting shot because we also have these 2 windows in the background. So I will use the 1x lens, and then I will slowly orbit around it. I will set and lock the focus and exposure. So I'm going to start from here and then slowly orbit around these plants. So you can see I'm just really moving with my body and not with my feet, and I think this shot came out really nice. What I also want in my shot are these stairs leading to the top of the tower. So for that, I will use the ultra wide angle lens again. I love using the ultra wide angle lens because I can fit a lot in the frame, and yeah, it just emphasizes a lot of the movement. So this is the ending position. So I will lock focus and exposure. As I push forward, I will slowly sort of tilt up the camera towards the tower. Okay, and go. So this will be the ending shot. I've placed the Hohem on a flat surface using the tripod legs, and I've extended the pole a bit so that I can angle this part, and I'm using the 1x lens. I'm going to set and lock the focus and exposure over here, and that is where I will reveal myself looking into the distance. I think this will make a great ending shot. So I do have to walk all the way up, but I'm recording this in 4K 25 frames per second, so I don't plan on slowing this down. So let's do that, and action. Okay. So let's now compile the shots to produce the final edit. Alright folks, I hope this has given you a clear understanding of how to utilize the Hohem iSteady V3 to create camera movements that result in professional looking videos. If you're interested in discovering more about the Hohem iSteady V3, I've created a comprehensive tutorial that you can explore up here or here. Now feel free to comment if you have any questions. Thank you so much for watching guys, and keep it mobile.